Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 94 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them. Available on YouTube and at most places podcasts can be found. As always, I'm your host, Erroll Maas, with my co-host, the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
Hey.
And again, we don't really have any housekeeping right now because we've been focusing on other work, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So we'll just get right into the Japanese games we've been playing. So I finished Shadowbringers.
Ooh.
I haven't really done much of Shadowbringers. Like I'm about to start that, the first quest of that. But again, I don't really have anything else new to say besides the stuff I said before. The one thing that's getting harder is now bosses have... Now it's a little harder to... It can get a little harder to avoid boss attacks because they don't have a... They telegraph them, but there's not like the... there's no AoE...
Marker.
Red mark showing or anything. So you really have to pay more attention, and I have to... It doesn't look great, but I find myself having to fully zoom out of the... Because it's the most useful thing to do.
Did you maybe by mistake turn off those UI elements?
No.
Okay.
Like, they actually... The bosses now just have contextual attacks.
Oh, okay.
So you just have to watch out, keep an eye on them. Luckily, the friends I play with are way ahead of me. Like, they're both done or almost done with Post-Shadowbringers, so they helped me get through a lot, and they remembered stuff.
Okay, that's good.
So I didn't have to work too hard. And then I put in my Endwalker activation code already, because it gives you an earring and a minion. But yeah, otherwise haven't been doing much in that. But I have been playing a lot more of Super Robot Wars 30.
Okay, that's nice.
And I got the premium sound edition, so I have all the anime music.
So
and some bonus.
That's
stuff.
like a separate thing to have actual anime music included in the game?
So they're like instrumental covers otherwise.
Oh.
A lot of Japanese games with licensed music have like a premium sound version. Super Robot Wars have been doing it for a while. A couple of the Kamen Rider games I know have done it. I can't think of anything else, but crossover titles with licensed music.
I mean,
will usually have a premium sound, either like DLC or a premium sound like version.
if that's the case, I'm just gonna wait till it's on sale, because it kind of stings if you're playing a game and you're expected to shell out more just to get the full experience.
Now, it can be a little annoying because sometimes they'll change whenever a character, it'll change whenever a character attacks if you have the animations on. If you turn the animations off, it won't do that, and you can kind of pick and choose, because you can be like, oh, I want to listen to this song, so I'll turn the animation on for when this character attacks, so it changes to that song, and I can turn it back off when the next character. But the one thing is that if it's for story reasons or character interactions, then and you're listening to a song you really like, and you don't know if that character interaction is going to happen, then the music will just change, and you'll be like, oh, oops, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
I think there's a setting, I need to check, but I think there's a setting to where the music doesn't constantly change like that.
Okay. But how are you liking the actual game now?
I like it. I still can't find if there's an actual pause button. Not that it needs one, but it's just because it's turn-based and a strategy, it's not
the biggest deal.
I'm not worried about stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just kind of feels a little weird.
But why do you need the pause button?
That there's no pause menu, really. I don't know.
Is there like a menu that goes to items, characters, and?
Well, yeah. Every time you attack, yeah. There's like I don't know if it goes to characters, but like when you click an empty square, it'll be like end phase or check this or check that.
No, like I meant, in RPGs you have, instead of the start button being the menu button, the Y or triangle button being the menu button.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a similar case? Question mark.
Well, like I said, a menu comes up when you press an empty square. And that's how you usually end your phases.
No,
because that's where the end phase.
That's kind of different. End phase is contextual to the battles. I meant.
No, but it's not. No. I'm not saying that's not the only option there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like it's a menu of a bunch of different things.
Okay. Gotcha.
And end phase is just in the center.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I and I know I said it's kind of like Into the Breach, but that wasn't really doing the game that much justice. You know, there are a lot more units, there's a lot more variety, a lot more stats you have to deal with.
But I mean, fundamentally, the way you play.
Yeah. Except for you don't have to protect buildings usually.
So it's,
as far as I've played,
it's more you versus the enemy, and not so much you having to worry about environmental effects.
Right, and that's kind of my one critique of it, because I would have. I mean, again, I don't know if I'm that far in the game, but I would have liked if there were some environmental obstacles, or interactions. I
think.
Because I thought there was when a lot of this takes place in space, and then the map will have huge asteroids on it, but these asteroids are like CG, so sometimes it'll look like part of it is coming out of the map, but it's under the map,
so it doesn't really mesh well.
Yeah,
I think,
and
based off,
I don't mind the stuff not being there, but it would be like a cool thing.
Yeah, based off of what you're saying, I think you would really like 13 Sentinels.
Yeah, I might try it out at some point.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you have like your main mission, which there's always a star next to, your main story mission, and you can select a bunch of other missions, and some will be recommended based on your like power level, the total power level of your team. But you can only do so many non-story missions before the game makes you do like an emergency mission. Okay.
So it kind of forces you to get on with the story.
Yeah, it's a little annoying, especially when you have like two emergency missions in a row. But I think it might just be trying to like it. I think it's trying to be like, okay, like after you get to a certain strength, the game's probably like, okay, so you're more than strong enough to do this now, so do this.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's not the worst thing, but I would have preferred being able to recruit all the people that I was able to before going back to the story. But I'm sure they don't want you to just be able to take down everything so easily.
Makes sense.
Although, like I said, since I fully powered Gridman, he takes down most things pretty easily.
And I'm guessing that's your main.
Him, and it's like him. This not Mazinger Z, but a robot from Mazinger Z. I forgot what it's called. It's similar, and that one's really useful because it can repair itself or other units. So you get health back. And then I have a ship that has the same repair function, so I've been using them. And then I have my other two strongest that I can think of are actually two Super Robot Wars exclusive characters. One, Super Robot X, and I don't know what the other one is called. Magic. No, not Magic. Some kind of magic thing. It's from
Magical Knight Raider?
The specifics. No, I do have. They're on my team too, but no, it's oh geez, what is it? It's one of the games. It's like mystical, magical.
Escaflowne?
No, it's one of the Super Robot Wars games.
You gotta help me out here, man.
But I forgot to. Hold on. It's like the Legend. Oh, what is it? Hang on, I need to find it. It's like. Oh, Maso Kishin, Lord of Elemental. That's what it is.
Okay.
He's like a. But he's like a. Well, like, is more of a fantasy type robot. But he. And the guy's name is Ando Masaki, which I thought is pretty funny because Endo Masaki, you know, the singer and musician, he has done a lot of songs for Super Robot Wars over the years.
Did not know that.
And also, this character has like a white cat and a black cat named Shiro and Kuro, because of course,
White
and
and
they
black,
help
yeah.
him do attacks. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm excited. I have a few Gundams as well too, like Uso from Victory Gundam, and I have Lelouch and from Code Geass, Lelouch, Suzaku, and Callan from Code Geass, and Jonah from Gundam Narrative. And I think I just recently got Quattro from Zeta Gundam and Amuro from Original Gundam.
Well,
And I'm about to get Camille from Zeta Gundam.
I feel like I should clarify that Lelouch isn't a Gundam or is from a Gundam property.
No, I said from Code Geass. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said from Code
Okay.
Geass.
Just making sure.
Lelouch, Suzaku, and Callan are all from Code
Just
Geass,
making
which
sure.
is not Gundam.
I don't want the fandoms
Yeah.
to collide and come after you.
Code Geass is a great anime. Go watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's almost like it almost has a monster collecting element to it, with all the units and recruiting them. But it's automatic though, so like not really, because it's automatic once you do the mission that they join you in.
Okay. So is this in the?
And
Okay, go ahead.
I also found out, and I'll talk about it later because it's on recommended content, but I was writing an article about Super Robot Wars, and they did have a game that was more akin to like Pokemon or a Monster Tamer called Link Battler, and it was for the Game Boy.
Okay.
It was still a strategy game, but it played more similarly to a Pokemon or Pokemon-like game.
So would this be in the running for the Game of the Year, or is it just...
Not Game of the Year, but I'm thinking top 5, yeah.
Okay.
Monster Hunter Stories 2 is still up there for now. Number 1 for now.
And is that Game of the Year, or for you it's Game of the Year? Because there's a difference.
I mean, there's not really much of a difference to me.
I mean, if you contrast that with, or not contrast, like compare it with everything that came out this year, do you think that would be the definitive game of 2021?
I think most people would not think that. I don't know what would be. I don't have any predictions for that.
I mean, we'll get back to that once it's the end of the year.
Yeah. But so you've been playing some Animal Crossing, huh?
Yeah. So update 2.0 kind of Beyonce dropped last night.
Beyonce dropped.
So I was pretty eager to get back into it because some added features and Brewster, which Callie has been raving about based off of her experience with the previous Animal Crossing games. That's friend of the show, Callie Plaggy. So I was very stoked to see what Brewster would entail. Alas, I have to find Brewster. Like, it's some kind of telenovela storyline where he's lost on some island and I have to go after him. And I also have to collect items in order to coax him to come back to my island, which is okay. Extra steps, but we all complained that there wasn't enough to do in Animal Crossing, and now there's suddenly a storyline.
Yeah.
So that's fun. I don't have the added the expanded storage option yet, but that's probably because I should pay off my remaining loan, which is kind of a pain because my storage is full, and I can barely do anything else without clearing that or selling off items. And I wish there was like this registry you could have for the items you collected all throughout the game, so you can safely delete them from your storage, kind of like what Destiny does with their weapons and armor, where you don't have to keep them in your storage, but they're registered to your account, and if you want to have them back, you just pay a small fee and get that back. So that would be a cool system I'd like to see implemented. But with this upcoming DLC tomorrow, Friday, when this episode drops, being the last major update, I doubt they'll do that. But yeah, I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna get the DLC because my girlfriend has been getting back into Animal Crossing, and I myself like to dabble every few days or so. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a nice chill time to end the year with, yeah, I'll see where that takes me.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the In From Japan J list, recent video game related entertainment news. So first we have Tokusatsu to host Friday night Godzilla marathons. This is by Kyle Anderson for Nerdist. And it says, the good folks at Tokusatsu and Shout Factory TV want to help all you Godzilla files out there relive some of the big guys' best moments. This Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. Oh, that already happened. But there was a 48-hour Kaiju marathon, followed by 4 movie marathons every Friday. They're calling it Friday Night Kaiju. And so the Showa-era Godzilla films, as well as Rodan and War of the Gargantuas, they are all available on the Shout Factory website to watch for free.
Nice.
So that includes, because I was checking this the other day, Godzilla, the uncut Japanese original, Rodan, Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, War of the Gargantuas, Invasion of the Astro Monster, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Ebirah, Horror of the Deep, Son of Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters Attack, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which is just the Americanized version of the original, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and Terror of Mechagodzilla. I have the Godzilla Showa Blu-ray, so I don't... Oh. This isn't for me because I already have it, but it's good for the fans who don't.
Oh, okay.
Good to have those movies be more accessible. I'm just waiting for the Heisei and Millennium eras to be more accessible.
In due time, I feel.
They at one point they were all on Hulu years ago. Also, Kamen Rider Ryuki, the full series, is now on Shout Factory. It is the one that was adapted into the Daytime Emmy Award-winning Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. It's kind of like and it's very of the time because they make contracts with these monsters to get their powers, and they use different, and they also use a deck of cards for different power-ups. It's like, oh yeah, this has like 2003 written all over it.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Or 2002.
I mean, even still, I think all tokusatsu shows have their own gimmick.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's just funny. You can kind of tell the time it was made. But yeah, you can go check that out. I plan on watching through it eventually. There's also the first, and that's also available for free on Shout Factory. There's also the first 2 episodes on YouTube through the Toei Tokusatsu channel.
Okay, that's nice.
And then Kamen Rider 01 Blu-ray is now available to pre-order on Shout Factory. It's unclear what the true release date of it is, but because they had listed it originally as January 25th, and then they took it off.
Oh, okay.
So it's either going to be January 25th or possibly later. We don't know yet. But you can pre-order it now. And I already did, because of course I did.
Of course you did.
Gotta support my subtitled tokusatsu, man. My officially subtitled tokusatsu. My friend Mike would be proud. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you could ask him.
That's true. Next up is recommended content. Content other than news listed out. Links in the description and the paste bin. First, we have Rise of Darkrai Pokemon Cosmic Horror by Eric Switzer for the gamer. Giratina and the Sky Warrior takes Ash to Pokemon Hell by Eric Switzer for the gamer. I know I keep highlighting these, but nobody else is doing a review series on these movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, except I may have one for a certain section of movies planned soon with some previous guests
enticing
lined up if we can get it together. Now, don't get your hopes up too much, but we're gonna try.
Okay.
We have next we have interview. Sugi discusses Tales of Luminaria characters and development by Jenni Lada for Siliconera. 9 things you didn't know about Super Robot Wars by me.
Real quick.
For the gamer.
Tales of Luminaria is supposed to drop today, the 4th of November. So, if anyone's curious,
it'll be out when this podcast is out.
Yeah, look it up on your app store.
Yeah, but like I said, 9 things you didn't know about Super Robot Wars by me for the gamer. Actually, you know what's interesting? Mm-hmm. I mentioned the music earlier. Mm-hmm. In Super Robot Wars K, it actually had plagiarized tracks from Chrono Trigger, Lufia 2, and some other stuff, and they had to apologize. They had to apologize to Square Enix, and they came to a settlement.
Okay.
A settlement.
Is it like something that's clearly riffing off of those tracks, or was it like straight up those tracks?
I think it was so close. It was so close that fans were like, "Hey, wait a minute." Yeah, kind of like a Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, if you know about that.
I've heard about that, but I don't really remember what it was.
It's like, why is the music in this game so good? Well, actually, it's plagiarizing a lot of other music. That's also happens to be good. Then we have review Shin Megami Tensei 5 is Powerful by Jenni Lada for Siliconera. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Has No Mercy for a Fool Like Me by Steven Strom. Wait, I need to check the author on that. Hold on. Yeah, by Steven Strom for Fanbyte. Shin Megami Tensei 5 review Hero of Hell by our friend Lucas White for Prima Games. And Shin Megami Tensei 5 review The End of the World as We Know It and I Feel Fine by Heidi Kemps for GameSpot. So we're going to do something a little different because we have 2 main topics today for this podcast. And one of them happens to be the discourse surrounding Shin Megami Tensei 5 and the reviews it's getting.
Oh, no.
No, it's getting good reviews.
Oh, no.
It's getting good reviews.
Not discourse.
Now, the good thing is it's getting good reviews. So, like, that's great. Jenni Lada gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't know how many games on Siliconera get that. But, and then IGN gave it an 8. And that's all I have to say about that.
You can say more. Don't be afraid of the gamers.
GameSpot also gave it an 8. But the whole thing is people not liking that Shin Megami Tensei 5 is being compared to Persona 5. But that's gonna happen because, one, more people have played Persona 5 than Shin Megami Tensei. Just in general.
Probably.
And it's probably overtaken in terms of popularity.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking, and I tweeted this out earlier, a lot of the Shin Megami Tensei games and the spin-offs, they're not easily accessible.
No.
And I don't mean like they don't have, I mean like a lot of them are old, haven't been remade for modern consoles besides Shin Megami Tensei 3 and Persona 4 Golden. So it's not necessary. So just from like a game preservation perspective, it would be good if there was an easier way for people to access these older games. if fans want people to avoid, like, it would be a good thing if fans want people to avoid the comparisons, then you should, encourage that more games get ported to modern platforms.
Yeah.
So then more people will be familiar with the main series and the other spin-offs and not just Persona.
But even then,
the comparisons might still happen.
But back to square one. I feel like this has been popping up in the Shin Megami fan base across the years, ever since Persona blew up in popularity. They kind of got the feeling that they were looked down upon or looked over because the spin-off overtook the main series in popularity, as you said.
Right.
And they kind of saw this coming, or kind of already talked about it throughout the year. Like, oh no, they're going to do the obvious thing where they're going to compare this to Persona while it's not Persona. And even if the games were accessible, the point of comparison can still stand, because I also tweeted it out that art does not exist in vacuum.
Also, they are still related.
Yes.
They use the same demons.
Yes.
They
a lot of the same attack names, item names.
They didn't take off the Shin Megami Tensei title off of Persona until 5, I think.
I think Persona 4 Golden was the first without the Shin Megami moniker, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the point of comparison can still stand, because art does not exist in vacuum. Art informs other art. Art informs real life. Real life informs art. And if a person has no desire to play the Shin Megami games before Shin Megami 5, and has previously only played Persona or another RPG, what have you, the point of comparison will naturally occur, and that has value. If a reviewer approaches his or her review or their review from that perspective, that has value for the consumer who also starts off from that base level. Like, I haven't played any of the SMT games before, ever. I've only read about them on Wikipedia, and they've always looked interesting. My gateway has been Persona 3, 4, and then eventually cementing it with 5. So, with SMT5 probably going to be my first entry in the wider universe, I also make that comparison just naturally. I mean,
but you're not. I think one issue, like, with some of the reviews, like maybe specifically the IGN one that some fans are having, is that, like, they're directly comparing it. Like, they said it didn't have the heart that Persona 5 did, and we're saying, and it's just like, well, it's not supposed to be Persona 5, though. No, don't go in to Shin Megami Tensei expecting Persona 5.
Jess Howard.
I also don't really get what they mean by that.
Jess Howard from Uppercut Crit and Paste, and Lucas from Prima Games. They've had a similar thing to say about this, in that it is a very true statement. It doesn't have the heart or charm of the Persona series. It is very much devoid of that kind of shonen-esque archetype.
Right.
It's very much a straightforward, this is the end of the world. You are a teen.
Yeah, these are post-apocalyptic games.
Yeah. And
you're not in I mean, you are in high school, but that's not the setting. I mean,
it both is and isn't the setting. Like, you start off in high school, you will automatically then compare it to either Persona. But
I mean, Shin Megami Tensei 3 takes place in a hospital.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's unavoidable. I feel if you want to have like a review that's from the perspective of someone that has played the previous entries, then you go to a reviewer or a site that specializes in RPGs or in smaller or niche titles. IGN is a very much mainstream site, and to say that before you review a game you have to do your homework and research, that takes up a lot of time, and not everyone has that much time.
And not getting into the whole review process thing, but the review process isn't great in general, and there's a bunch of issues with that, and
but
that just makes the problem worse.
That notwithstanding, it's also that the way we consume media has to be broader. The way we critique media has also got to become broader, because the things we like do not have to define us, and if someone negatively critiques a thing we like, it does not automatically mean we are negatively being viewed upon. Because a lot of the reactions do seem like that. Like, how dare you give it a negative comparison because it isn't Persona? If a reviewer likes Persona,
and sometimes those reviews might not even said something like that. It's just
true.
People have the reading comprehension of a piece of cheese.
I wouldn't use
sometimes.
I wouldn't use those strong words, but it's more of me saying if a reviewer likes a game better than another game, that's his, her, or their right to say that. Right. We all make that assertion about the things we consume. It's like, you, for example, don't like Final Fantasy VII Remake as much as everyone else because comparatively you've had better experiences with other action/RPG titles.
Yes.
It's not the end of the world. It's just a different perspective. And I feel like different perspectives help us grow, help us understand each other, and differences are there to be overcome where possible, and it's also there to enrich our lives. It's not the end of the world if a game is being compared to Persona. I mean... Right.
I think another issue, though, is like Persona 5 sells so well, and the fact that on like social media, which again, so like Twitter is not the entire world. Everybody settle down.
It's about 6% of the total world population, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is much smaller than you would think with the way people act on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
doesn't have to spell doom or gloom.
No, what I was saying was Persona 5 was trending more than Shin Megami Tensei 5, and people fans were upset about that, and to the I think fans are a little too worried about it affecting sales, this stuff affecting sales, and it's like, I mean, it's a kind of niche series anyway. It's probably not gonna. I don't know.
It's niche for a reason. It's very esoteric in its storytelling. It's very doom and gloom, very high difficulty for an RPG, and most of the series is inaccessible. Whereas Persona 4 Golden is now on PC. It's on Vita.
Yes,
you can, if you have a PS2, you can also play it there. And Persona 5 and Persona 5 Strikers are readily available. What's popular is going to...
And Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, what's popular will be popular. What's niche will be niche until it becomes popular. It's like, you can't control these things. It's if it doesn't strike a chord with the larger public, then it doesn't strike a larger chord with the public. That doesn't mean...
again... Mm-hmm. Don't attack people just because they're comparing it to Persona 5 if they didn't like certain aspects. Instead of being like, oh, you didn't play the... Why can't you just be like, oh, if you didn't like this aspect, and I recommend you try this Shin Megami Tensei game or spin-off or whatever.
It's very valuable.
Why can't it be like that?
For me as a viewer or reader, if my reference point is only Persona. Like if a reviewer says, hey, this is not like Persona and you probably will not like it as much based off of my experience, then that to me as a consumer is enough information to say maybe I should skip this one. Simple as that. And
but you never know.
You never know. That's true. But earlier this year,
and that's why this podcast is sponsored by GameFly. No, I'm just kidding.
Earlier this year, I think Tokyo Mirage Sessions dropped, or was it end of last year? I don't remember what time is, but
I thought it was like 2 years.
No,
the Switch one, the Switch version.
Yes,
I have it.
Yeah, I have it too. I think it was the beginning of this year because
I know our friend of the show Cameron Hawkins swears by that game.
Okay, that's all I'll say.
I haven't played it yet, so I just know it. 2020, January 17th, 2020. So the beginning of 2020.
Okay, the beginning of 2020. So, when I played it, I automatically compared it to Persona because that's my point of reference. It happens.
Right.
You'll be fine. Listener,
and I know some fans were disappointed by that one because it wasn't as Shin Megami Tensei as they wanted it to be.
My critique for that game is it doesn't carve out enough of its own identity. Like it's not Fire Emblem-y enough. It's not Shin Megami Tensei enough.
It's like stuck somewhere in the middle, but in the weird middle ground, and not the good middle ground, but the weird middle ground.
It's not even. It's the decent middle ground where it's a very competently made game with colorful characters, attacks, and a pleasant aesthetic. But it just doesn't. It just doesn't have that secret sauce that Persona 5 had, or Persona 4 had, or Persona 3 had.
The formula.
It's fine. Comparisons exist. Will continue to exist.
Look,
you can compare the.
I'm just happy. Nobody's like, oh, Shin Megami Tensei 5. I haven't seen anybody call Shin Megami Tensei 5 a Pokemon clone or ripoff. So I'm happy about that.
Small victories. I do. I
did see Imran Khan did say something about it being similar, but that was more like that was a very small thing. That wasn't.
I've seen a couple of reviews mention that it, like Pokemon, you collect demons and power them up, and you have to
and you have to recruit them.
You have to recruit them, and you also have to rejigger your team so that you're the best optimized for any given dungeon.
And also, there's a chance. It's a chance system too, like throwing a Pokeball, because it's.
But it's more.
It depends on what you say, or might depend on something might depend on like the phase of the moon or something. Apparently,
though it is a bit of a more difficult or high or lower chance.
Yeah,
than Pokemon.
It's not. Yeah. But yeah, I'm still interested in playing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it too.
The internet has a short collective memory, so I'm sure people will forget this by Monday.
They'll probably forget it, but when the time comes where another JRPG gets reviewed, like Monarch, next year, this will really.
I don't know. I feel like Monarch is going to be on a lot less people's radars.
Kind of like the
Caligula effect.
Yeah, like Caligula effect too. It might be, it might not be, but the comparison will naturally arise because both those franchises have had their origins by way of the developers being on the original SMT team. Be compared to SMT, so it's fine. We'll all be fine. You'll survive.
We'll get through it.
I promise you, it'll be fine.
All right, so that was main topic 1. Stick around for main topic 2 after we do our news stuff.
Yeah.
Because now it's time for the news rundown. So I'll let the bearer of bad news and Shin Megami take it away with the badish news. Although I guess the Shin Megami Tensei 5 Discourse is pretty bad.
It is the worst.
The worst news.
Okay.
All right.
Now on to the bad-ish news that isn't part of the discourse. Japan's.
Also, you didn't say the thing.
Do I have to?
Oh, I thought it was.
Okay. I'll say it. I'll say it.
You don't have
now
to.
on to the bad-ish news. Bankai. Okay. There, I said it.
All right. Okay, he said the thing.
I said the
We're
thing.
good. It's okay.
Japan's Gundam cafes will all close down. This is by Brian Ashcraft for Kotaku. If you were hoping to visit Japan's Gundam cafes, you better do it soon, because early next year it looks like they're all going to close. In an official statement or announcement, the cafe's management announced that the Gundam Square location in Osaka will shutter on January 1st. The Gundam Cafe Tokyo brand core location in Akihabara, as well as the Gundam Cafe in Tokyo's Odaiba and in Fukuoka, will close on January 30th. Gundam Cafe Tokyo brand core opened on July 31st, 2020, making that an exceptionally short run. There is a cafe at Gundam Factory Yokohama, but that attraction is only temporary and will end on March 31st, 2022. Once that ends, it appears that all the official Gundam cafes will be closed. Excuse me. Is this upsetting a little bit? Is this to be expected? We're still in a pandemic, so yes. And Japan, more than some other countries, has struggled quite a bit with COVID. So,
right.
Yeah, it's gonna get it's gonna be a bit tougher before it normalizes. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Now, luckily, Gundam, Japan has pop-up cafes all the time, so I'm sure Gundam will have plenty of those.
Gundam has an enduring legacy and popularity.
Right.
So I'm not too worried about another Gundam cafe popping up soon.
It's just sad that all the mainstay ones will be closing.
Yeah, but
I never went to one when I was in Japan, but I was like right outside of one. Because I hadn't watched any Gundam at that point in my life.
I mean, you could have just gone to the cafe. You didn't. It's not
true.
like they're going to quiz you at the door like, oh, who was Char?
What Gundam? Have you watched any Gundam series? Okay, you're good.
In which Gundam franchise did Lelouch come from?
Trick question. Not a Gundam franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But he did interact with Gundam characters in Super Robot Wars.
There you go.
Which is out now for Steam internationally.
They should really sponsor us at this point, but okay.
Bandai Namco.
Next, Nintendo confirms it's closing its Northern California and Toronto offices. This is by Kat Bailey for IGN. Nintendo is shuttering its offices in Redwood City, California and Toronto, Ontario, a move that will reportedly affect more than 100 employees. The decision coincides with the reported resignation of Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing Nick Chavez, who will be leaving Nintendo to join Kentucky Fried Chicken. I was not expecting that twist.
That I did not know.
First reported by Kotaku, Nintendo of America confirmed that the offices would be closing in a statement to IGN. Quote, Nintendo of America headquarters are in Redmond, Washington, and Vancouver, British Columbia. We are moving more of our employees and operations into those headquarters and will be closing small satellite offices in Toronto, Ontario, and Redwood City, California over time, the statement says. According to Kotaku staff, were reportedly upset by the decision to close the Redwood City offices. I can imagine. You can click on the article for a full breakdown. Yeah.
Hopefully the people working at those places will be able to work from home and don't have to be, hopefully don't have to find a new job because of the closing down of these.
Hopefully they land on their feet soon
places.
enough.
Yeah.
Next up, chip shortage will result in Nintendo making fewer Switch systems. This is by Josh Tolentino for Siliconera. An ongoing global shortage of electronic parts forced Nintendo to scale back production of the Nintendo Switch. According to a Nikkei Asia report, Nintendo will produce about 20% fewer units for the fiscal year ending in March 2022. This amounts to about 24 million units total. 30 million units were originally planned. These figures include the updated Nintendo Switch OLED version, as well as a handheld-only Switch Lite. Shout out to Nikkei Asia. The Switch crunch Nintendo is facing is reflective of a worldwide supply shortage emerging due in part to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. A variety of factors combined with a surge in demand for the silicon chips and semiconductors used to manufacture all types of electronic devices has resulted in chip makers unable to meet demand. It takes time to establish new factories and chip foundries for the complex components. So the lag is affecting the production targets of everything from game consoles to automobiles. The shortage is expected to continue into 2022. So for anyone who doesn't have a next-gen console or a Switch or a PC or other form of electronics, this really sucks. I think Switch systems are pretty well stocked. I think you should be fine should you want one for the holidays. For every other current gen console, that could be a kind of a coin flip, so coin toss. So who knows? Let's see. Next up, we have Pikmin Bloom has a Nintendo account issue. I was not expecting that. This is by Jenni Lada for Siliconera. People starting Pikmin Bloom for the first time might experience a connection issue depending on whether you use a Google or Nintendo account to log in. Both the official support page and initial reports note that starting with a Nintendo account blocks you from using other logins. So, as I was saying, Google, my phone turned on. Here's how the problem goes. When someone begins playing, you choose which account you might want to log into the game with. The problem arises if someone chooses a Nintendo account. Should someone use a Nintendo account to log in and play Pikmin Bloom, then they can later use a Google account or account from another Niantic game to log into it. This means if the other account you wish to link is tied to perhaps Pokemon Go, the game will claim your account already exists and not allow it. If someone uses any other account for the initial login, this won't happen. This sucks. But you know.
Yeah, I've never been a Pikmin fan, so I wasn't really.
Yeah, I've never played Pikmin. Surprisingly.
I tried it once a long time ago, and I was like, yeah, even when I was little, I'm like, yeah, this is not for me.
Yeah. I think.
And I don't like Olimar and Smash.
I think it would be kind of like when I played Viva Pinata on the Xbox 360. Like, I appreciate what it is, but I just couldn't get into it, not really.
I still need to play that. That is available on Game Pass.
Yeah. Xbox should really sponsor
both of
us.
them, actually.
Next up, Platinum Games Soul Cresta delayed to 2022. This is by Kite Stenbuck for Siliconera. Platinum Games' upcoming shoot-'em-up Soul Cresta will be available in 2021? Wait, what? Will not be available in 2021. Okay, my mistake. In a live stream titled Hideki Kamiya's Very Sorry Stream, the creative director led the team in apologizing for delaying the game to 2022, while providing more gameplay footage. Soul Cresta's producer Takehito Washisaka accompanied Kamiya in the stream. While the director Takanori Sato was also slated to appear, he ended up not appearing to focus on the game's development. Platinum Games initially planned to release Soul Cresta on December 9th, 2021. However, Kamiya explained in the stream that the team wants to improve the title's quality and include new ideas into the game. Kamiya would rather defend the game's quality threshold than the deadline schedule. Okay, so they want to improve the quality, so it's not running into any trouble. Next up, Pokemon Trading Card Game Live, Canadian mobile soft launch and global desktop open beta delayed to 2022. Also, shout out to Nicole B for landing a new gig.
Right, I was going to say that.
As
she is
a gameplay designer.
Also, full disclosure, yes, a past guest of ours is a game designer for the Pokemon Trading Card Game Live.
I mean, now she has to hook us up. It's only fair, Nicole. Okay. All joking aside, this is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. The Pokemon Company has delayed the Canadian mobile soft launch and global desktop open beta for Pokemon Trading Card Game Live from its previously announced 2021 release window to 2022. In a tweet, the company said the delay was necessary to provide trainers with a more polished experience and that it will share more information on timing for the testing period and full launch soon. Pokemon Trading Card Game Live will be available for PC, iOS, and Android. Okay, so...
And also the original Pokemon TCG game, the old one for Game Boy Color, that's available on Nintendo 3DS.
If you can find a 3DS.
If you still have a 3DS, like I do.
I don't. I missed my chance. I should have bought it last year.
Well, I was looking because of an article I was working on, and I had to make sure of something. But then I was like, oh yeah, I need to see the Shin Megami Tensei games that I can download on here digitally.
Yeah, you could
Quite
probably play 4 and 4 Apocalypse.
4 for Apocalypse, Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, Devil Survivor Overclocked, and Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker.
There's a lot.
Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey, which is a highly recommended one.
There's a lot.
Persona Q.
There's a lot.
I don't like Persona Q, but it's there.
Blasphemy. Moving on to the goodish news.
In other news, we don't call it that.
It's fine. It's fine. Sega and Microsoft announced strategic alliance to create new titles for Sega in next-gen development environment built on Azure. This is by Shal Romano for Gamatsu.
Sonic in 4K?
Sega and Microsoft have announced a strategic alliance that explores ways for Sega to produce large-scale global games in a next-generation development environment
4K,
built on Microsoft's Azure cloud platform. The alliance forms a key part of Sega's mid to long-term strategy, allowing it to move forward with its super game, quote-unquote, initiative to develop new and innovative titles focused on quote-unquote global, quote-unquote online, quote-unquote community, and quote-unquote IP. Jeez, these are a lot of quotes. It's just all buzzwords, but okay. The companies have...
buzzwords, quote-unquote.
The companies have agreed upon the foundation for this alliance and look to build further technological evolutions through mutual cooperation, with areas such as network infrastructure and communication tools required for global online services being a key priority. And by shifting to a next-generation development platform, Sega can effectively adapt to diversifying work styles and potential infrastructural changes. Click on the article if you want to read more. What does this mean for the consumer?
Well,
nothing yet. You probably won't see this come to fruition in about 5 to 10 years.
Right. And it's interesting that the super game that people saw, it's this whole thing. It's not a single game per se. It's this whole...
It's a concept. It's everyone moving towards the one true metaverse, if you will.
Oh no.
It's everyone is aiming for that next big thing, and everyone's betting that online and VR and AR will be that next big thing. And cloud infrastructure really helps a lot with that. And previously, Microsoft promised or predicted the Xbox One generation would be the one to utilize cloud, but that did not end up manifesting the way they thought. But with the current generation and probably the next one, you could see that come into play a lot more. I mean, we already have the cloud streaming on Xbox. You have the ability to upscale from a Xbox One console to a current gen console by way of cloud streaming to handle the extra processes and computational work. So the cloud is already doing a lot of heavy lifting, but the way they are envisioning it, you won't probably be seeing it until 2030, my guess. But I could be off. Oh god, I'm gonna be so old by 2030, but okay.
Next up, Mr. Driller Drill Land for PS5, Xbox Series. Speaking of age, did you see the... Wait, no, before I get to talk about Mr. Driller, did you see the thing going around that was like, oh, if this was your first Pokemon game, you're this age?
Yes, it's dead on for me. I am old.
I am not... Or, no, it was not your first Pokemon game. Was it your favorite? Your favorite.
I am old.
No, that was not true for me. It was close. But not true. I was kind of in between because my favorites are Gen 2 and it said I was 30 and I'm not 30 yet.
I mean,
I still got a little while.
A good few years. Well,
yeah.
My favorites tend to be the first and the second one. I just have...
Oh, first gen and second gen?
First and second gen, because I have the most memories of those. I did play a fair bit of Ruby and Sapphire, but most of my precious memories come from Gold, Silver, Red, Blue, and Yellow. And yet...
A good friend of mine, I used to joke that she was a... Because, Gen 1ers are a thing. I used to joke that she was a Gen 3er because... she had only played Ruby and Sapphire at the time.
Okay.
She was like, those are the best ones. So those are the only ones you've played.
Yeah, I mean, it still stands.
And she's older than me.
It still stands. If that's the only one she played, it can still be the best one.
No, I know. It's just fun. I just think it's funny in terms of just thinking about that and that whole, not meme, but that whole graph or whatever it is, image. Anyway, what I was saying before, Mr. Driller Drill Land, who is not a Pokemon, for PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, and Xbox One launches November 4th in the West. Confirmed to launch alongside Japan and Asia. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Bandai Namco will release the PS5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One versions of Mr. Driller Drill Land in the West alongside its Japanese and Asian release on November 4th, the company announced. While the game will be a digital-only release in the West, the PlayStation 4 version will be available at physical retail in Japan and Asia. Mr. Driller Drill Land first launched for GameCube in December 2002, followed by Switch via Nintendo eShop and PC via Steam in June 2020. So yeah, if you like Mr. Driller, now you have plenty of options to play the port of the old one.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi finishes Shadowbringers. Laughs at your backlog. This is by Mike William, friend of the show, for Fanbyte. We have reached the end of our journey, friends. Well, someone has, and we've been there to witness it. Hironobu Sakaguchi, the director of the original Final Fantasy and lead developer behind many of the series' early entries, only started playing Final Fantasy XIV in late September. Now he's pretty much ready for Endwalker in 2 weeks. It was a move that FF14 creative director and producer Naoki Yoshida assumed was more tentative, given the two were going to share the virtual stages during a talk at Tokyo Game Show 2021. Quote, "We will be having a talk session over Zoom, and I haven't talked to him in a while," Yoshida told Easy Allies during the media tour. "I'm sure Mr. Sakaguchi is very busy, so I don't know how far he'll get into the game. I really appreciate that he's trying out the game." End quote. Sakaguchi persisted, however. A lot, in fact. He absolutely burned through every expansion, finishing Heavenward in 2 days. How? Sakaguchi, did you sleep? Did you eat? Did you shower? I am worried, man. And
He did them all while playing it.
Incredible. And Stormblood in another 6. 6 days. What is his secret? The father of Final Fantasy began the most recent expansion, Shadowbringers, on October 24th and finally posted a screenshot from its ending on October 28th. Okay. You should really read this article. There are a lot of good bits in here. I am in awe. Like, did he have friends that Sherpa'd him through all the dungeons so that he could be finished within a minute? What is his secret? Like, I have to know, because I am struggling to get through all these expansions. Like, if he can do Storm...
So, maybe it's that... So, you know all those rings that Yoshi P wears? Maybe he gave him one of the rings.
He's like... So, Sakaguchi's basically, without the icky parts, the Kirito of Final Fantasy 14?
If you want to compare it to something bad, I was gonna do like a Lord of the Rings comparison.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
No, but like thinking about it, it's just like, all right, this is my ring of speed. It will make you do things, 50% faster in the game.
Yeah.
Or while you're playing the game, or while playing any video game.
I don't think that's gonna happen. No, I think he just did it the regular old-fashioned way.
And I mean his literal ring, not one of his literal rings, not a ring in game.
Nah.
Those rings they're the rings of power, the true rings of power. Why do you think he wears so many of them?
It's fashion, man. Look it up.
Anyways, moving on. Capcom sales update: Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin at 1.3 million, Street Fighter 5 at 6 million more. This is by Saruman for Gamatsu. Capcom has updated its list of platinum titles, games that have sold over 1 million units, providing total sales numbers as of June 30th, 2021. Notable updates include Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin for Switch and PC has sold 1.3 million units. Yes, thank you. Yes, it was all me. Thank you. I have done my job here. Mm-hmm. I must leave and go back to my home planet now. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard for PS4, Xbox One, and PC has sold 10.2 million units. 400,000 additional units since June 30th. Resident Evil Village, PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC has sold 4.8 million units. 300,000 additional units since June 30th. Sales have since surpassed 5 million. Monster Hunter World Iceborne, PS4 and Xbox One, has sold 8.5 million units. 300,000 additional units since June 30th. Resident Evil 2, PS4, Xbox One, PC, has sold 8.9 million units. 300,000 additional units since June 30th. Monster Hunter Rise for Switch has sold 7.5 million units, 200,000 additional units since June 30th. Resident Evil 3 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC has sold 4.6 million units, 200,000 additional units since June 30th. Street Fighter 5 for PS4 and PC has sold 6 million copies, 200,000 additional units since June 30th. And Devil May Cry 5 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC has sold 4.7 million units, 200,000 additional units since June 30th. So yeah.
All in all, a good year for Capcom.
Yep. And they have this whole list of all the platinum titles, and of course Monster Hunter World is the top. And then,
do you know how much Stories 1 sold?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay.
It's not on this list, I'll tell you that.
So it's safe to assume it's less than 1 million.
It might be like
800,000?
Because there is the 3DS version
and the mobile version.
Mobile version, and it did better in Japan than it did outside of Japan.
I mean, but that still doesn't give me an idea of the cumulative sales. So,
hold on, let me see. Well, no, it's not on this list, so it did not make platinum.
Okay, I think Stories 2 probably at the end of its run would probably be around 3 to 5 million.
Really, that good?
I think. because Monster Hunter is very much the it game now, and I think if Stories 2 has a few good sales, then or discounts, if you will, then heading into the next year, it could be close to 3 million. I'm optimistic.
We don't have. There's no sales on.
Not yet.
Wikipedia.
So that's why.
There's no sales for the first one that I can find.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it goes. Next up, Tetris: The Grandmaster home port announced.
Wait, hang on. Wait. I was gonna say, because I forgot to say when we talked about Shin Megami Tensei, if Monster Hunter Stories, if it surpassed Monster Hunter in popularity, I'd be ecstatic.
If
I'd never shut up.
If what surpassed Monster Hunter in popularity?
If Monster Hunter Stories
did what? Surpass Shin Megami?
No, if it surpassed the main series of Monster Hunter in popularity.
I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, but okay. It's nice to dream. It's nice to dream.
I really can't find like the sales of. I know it didn't sell that. I remember seeing it before and it didn't sell much. Yeah, I can't find it.
That's fine. Next up, Tetris: The Grandmaster home port announced. This is by Carly Garcia for Siliconera. Tetris: The Grandmaster will be coming to home consoles.
Oh no, I found it.
So
possibly. This is according to VG sales. I don't know how accurate this is. Let me see. Salesdatabase.net all-time ranking, and according to this, it says, and take it with a grain of salt, of course, because I don't know what this thing is, but 309,000.
That is
over 300.
That's not a lot, but
that's a lot less than 1 million. Yes.
Next up, or to continue, Tetris Grandmaster will be coming to home consoles for the first time. In a tweet made by Aika Vice President Ichiro Mihara, he explained that the company planned to make an official announcement on November 1st, 2021. However, it had to be delayed due to external factors. Mihara also noted or added that Arika, I almost said Akira, has been considering a new fourth entry to the series, but this would be conditional based. Would be conditional based on the success of the upcoming home port.
Condition based.
Arika previously developed the Grandmaster and more recently Tetris 99 for Nintendo. I think that should be Nintendo Switch. I guess this is great. More Tetris is on the way, probably.
Well, so it's interesting because every time I'm writing list articles about certain games releasing on certain consoles or needing a re-release or something, Tetris almost always pops up. It was bundled with the original Game Boy. It has an exclusive and one exclusive entry on the Nintendo 64. And then what was the other? Oh, it had a game on the Virtual Boy. It was the last game released on the Virtual Boy.
Interesting.
There's probably some other stuff, but so far it just keeps popping up.
I mean, Tetris is good. It has perfect gameplay.
Yeah, I'm glad that what is the Grandmaster? Because this is like a.
I have no idea. It's a sub-series probably.
Yeah, because it says home port, so I guess it wasn't
arcade-based game.
Tetris Terra Instinct. Oh wait. Most difficult a puzzle game, features 99 levels of play, blah 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 blah. Yeah, arcades. It was an arcade game.
Oh, okay. Next up.
But yeah, it's good that arcade games are getting
a new lease on life.
Because, yes.
Next up, Masahiro Sakurai was asked about the future of Smash. This is by Kite Stenbach for Siliconera. The latest issue of Famitsu has extensive coverage related to Masahiro Sakurai, the creator of the Super Smash Bros. And Kirby series. Other than featuring the game creator on the magazine's cover, Famitsu also interviewed Sakurai on the future of Super Super Smash Bros. After Ultimate. Shout out to Ryo Kutia. When Famitsu asked Sakurai whether he can create a new sequel to Smash, he immediately said, "Impossible," multiple times. I think that would be Muri Muri Zetai Muri. However, he later elaborated that neither he nor Nintendo have finalized plans for such a sequel. Here are some of the highlights from Famitsu's interview with Masahiro Sakurai. Quote, "I am not thinking of a sequel. I am not thinking of it every time. However, I can't say with certainty that this would be the end of Smash. And, quote, I need to think whether I must release a Smash game or not, even if I have to do something that would disappoint users," end quote. And I currently don't see a path where Smash can be produced without myself. Following, honestly, we did actually try leaving it to someone else, but it didn't go well. And finally, if the series were to continue, I have to talk with Nintendo and have a debate on whether it will succeed or not. I must think about this topic seriously. So, a few interesting tidbits right there.
I think the disappointing fan things is important to note because, Smash Ultimate had to go through a lot of licensing stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of media critics or like people in the know who follow games media say that this is probably the last time you'll see such an expansive roster.
Right. The fact that it happened at all is just impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive. Also impressive, I still have no copy of Smash Bros. Ultimate for myself.
Neither do I. But I told myself once all the characters were announced.
Yeah, probably.
And I haven't done that yet. I mean, the characters have all been announced.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for
a definitive edition.
No, like the Sora amiibo when they hopefully do that, and the they didn't do an Incineroar amiibo yet, did they? I don't think so.
Not that I can recall.
Yeah, and an Incineroar amiibo, and then I used to have the Kirby one, but then I didn't. I have the Dragon Quest Hero one, so I do have a Smash amiibo.
Nice.
Not for Smash, just because it's the easiest way to get a Dragon Quest related figure.
That makes sense.
But yeah. And next up, Monster Hunter Rise voice actors recording for Sunbreak. This is by Jenni Lada for Siliconera. Once again, there's another milestone in the development of the Monster Hunter Rise expansion. Capcom's moved on to voice acting. Director Yoshitaka Suzuki announced the Monster Hunter Rise voice actors are in the studio for Sunbreak. Here's Suzuki's announcement. In it, he confirmed the Monster Hunter Rise voice actors started recording their lines. It's accompanied by a photo of the studio. While some of the development team are pictured from behind, no voice actors are shown. The recording booth is empty in the picture. Also, the announcement didn't mention any of the voice actors who might be returning. The tweet says, "Hello everyone, we recently started voice recordings for the characters in this upcoming expansion to Monster Hunter Rise. The team has assembled a wonderful cast, and the actors are really pouring their heart and soul into their performances." This is the second recent bit of Monster Hunter Rise news that has to do with voice actors. The other involves 2 new selectable voices as potential presets for the hunters. People can now get add-ons that bring Sungwon Prosody Cho as Hibasa and Deborah Wilson as Manju to the game. Deborah Wilson, known for her role in Jedi Fallen Order as I forgot that character's name. But you know
I know
who I'm talking about, right?
I'm looking it up because such a stellar performance cannot be forgotten.
Right.
She played. Hold on to your butts. Oh, she was also in Persona 5 Strikers. Moving on.
That I did not know.
Sere Junda. She played Sere Junda.
Sere Junda.
She's also in Wolfenstein 2 and Wolfenstein Youngblood. And she will be playing
Amanda Walker
Waller
in Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League. Oh, Amanda Waller, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Right. Oh, and she's Kit. She's Kit in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Oh, nice. Are you gonna be?
She's getting plenty of work. It's great. She's very good.
Are you going to be getting Sunbreak?
Well, of course I am, but I'm wondering, because I haven't really played much of Rise besides having to get a screenshot for something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if Sunbreak, if they want you to get to a certain point after the credit, because you know how like the
main story.
The main story is surprisingly short.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise
even though,
me.
like, the main story isn't finished.
Like they could say you have to hit level 30 before you can get,
or Hunter rank blank to blank, yeah,
something like that.
But it also wouldn't surprise me if they said, "Oh, you have to finish the like it's just
the main story,
the Hunter rank you get to after you beat the main story." Yeah, that would make it a lot easier for the players who have dropped off after the credits, or like a little bit after. I do plan on going back to it at some point.
Yeah, same.
But most of the people I know who have played it dropped off of it pretty hard.
I still haven't deleted it from my Switch hard drive, so there's still time.
Next up, this is actually an indie game inspired by Japanese media. I know we're supposed to be Japanese games, but I thought we could make an exception for this. Mm-hmm. So this is Dawn of the Monsters gameplay and details revealed. This is by Ryan McCaffrey for IGN. Publisher Way Forward, also known as the beloved developer behind games like Contra 4, DuckTales Remastered, and A Boy and His Blob, is partnering with developer 13AM Games on Dawn of the Monsters, a new co-op brawler in which you get to play as a kaiju who stands up to other giant monsters and inadvertently trashes the fully destructible fictional city of New Toronto in the process. It is due out in the first half of 2022 for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X/S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. There are 4 playable beasts: Megadon, Ganira, Aegis Prime, and Tempest Galahad. Each has brutal rage abilities, cataclysm attacks, and finishing moves. As you can see in the trailer above and in the screenshots below, Dawn of the Monsters has a unique comic book-like art style. And Way Forward says that kaiju designs are done by legendary Godzilla character, creator Shiji Nishikawa, and Godzilla comic book artist and friend of the show, Matt Frank.
So, all of this is just music to your ears.
It won't be all boss fights across Dawn of the Monsters' 35 missions. There are over a dozen regular enemy types standing in your way as well, and you're able to bring one friend into battle in co-op. You can also customize your kaiju. This is like a spiritual successor to Rampage.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Which, though, I wish those games would get like a collection and re-release, but I don't know who owns them. I guess Warner Brothers? They did the movie.
Probably.
And they picked up all the stuff from Midway, I think.
Yeah.
Because Mortal Kombat stuff was from Midway, too.
That's probably in limbo these days because Warner Brothers is still, I think, thinking of selling off their games division. So that would probably be still up in there.
Yeah, I haven't seen any news about that lately.
Yeah.
Or any updates on that. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we'll see. Next up, Nintendo Switch has sold 92.87 million units. I don't know why it devolved into that sing-songy. It sold 92.87 million units, and it's catching the Wii. Or catching up to the Wii. This is by Ryan Craddock for Nintendo Life. The Nintendo Switch has reached a grand total of 92.87 million hardware sales. Nintendo's latest financial report confirms. Nintendo reveals that it has shifted 8.28 million consoles between April and September 2021. 6.45 million of those being the original model and 1.82 million being the Lite. Sales are still down year on year, however. Nintendo says that last fiscal year, the March 2020 release of Animal Crossing New Horizons prompted a significant increase in hardware and software sales. So compared to the same period of last year, unit sales have declined for both hardware and software. The table below shows Nintendo home consoles hardware sales correct as of 30th September 2021. So the Wii is at 101.63 million. the Switch at 92.87 million and the NES at 61.91 million. And the lowest of the bunch would be the Wii U at 13.56 million. So you know what this means. Soon enough, the Nintendo Switch will be Nintendo's best-selling console. I think I think they might hit this target by next year, and it's definitely...
Yeah, it's pretty impressive since, according to a lot of people, the Switch has no games.
I mean, it's more than just having quote-unquote games. It's
I'm kidding. I think the Switch has plenty of games.
It's also, the portability factor. It's the accessibility to stuff like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Smash Brothers, Pokemon.
The price compared to other consoles.
Yeah. But Nintendo games drive Nintendo hardware sales. So, there you go. Next up, Nintendo will not focus resources on Switch OLED. Other models cater to different needs. This is by Jared Moore for IGN. Following the news that the world's ongoing semiconductor chip shortage will affect production on the Nintendo Switch, the Japanese company has said that it won't be focusing its more limited resources solely on the OLED model due to the fact that the other versions of the consoles cater to different player needs. As part of an interview with Bloomberg, Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa explained that while he doesn't expect shortages to recover anytime soon, the company will be allocating what resources it has to more than just the latest model, the Switch OLED. Quote, "We have no plans to focus our supply resources only on the OLED model," end quote, Furukawa said. Quote, "3 models each cater to different needs of customers. Sales of the original Switch as well as the Lite model remain firm even after the OLED models release," end quote. Well, we're not sponsored by Nintendo, so we can just say OLED. This is interesting because you'd think they'd, do away with the original Switch model and just have the OLED be the remaining hardware unit. But it makes some kind of sense. The original model is cheaper, and if you're worried about burn-in, you have another alternative. There's not much to say about this. It's probably also has to do with the resources they've stockpiled so far. Like they have molds, they have semiconductors, screens for the original hardware in stock. So it would not be wise to just throw that out if you could use them to produce new Switch models or new Switch consoles. But we'll see how that goes, because next year is the rumored year of the Switch Pro. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, Nintendo reconfirms release windows for major upcoming Switch games. This is by Ryan Craddock for Nintendo Life. As part of Nintendo's latest financial report, the company has published an updated look at its upcoming release schedule. Below, you'll find a list of Nintendo's major releases planned for the end of 2021 and beyond. The updated info confirms that Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is still on track for a release in 2022, as well as other highly anticipated titles like Splatoon 3 and Mario plus Rabbids Spark of Hope. And that Metroid Prime 4 is still TBA. Note that the report also reminds us that Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp delay is going to be it is being delayed to spring 2022. So yeah, Bayonetta is still on for 2022. That's about it. Like those are the big releases so far. It might be that by year's end with the Game Awards, Nintendo will have like a surprise announcement for something.
F-Zero, baby.
Doubtful, baby. And all throughout next year, there will probably be an
Super Mario Odyssey 2, imagine.
Rumor has it it's more or less done. And you also have the new Donkey Kong game. You have the Metroid Prime trilogy. You have the Kirby games. You have the other Zelda remakes.
I actually forgot, like, the other day I was like, wait, was there a new Kirby game announced a little while ago? And I had to, like, until I read this article, I was like, was there a new Kirby game announced recently, or did I dream that? No, there was a new Kirby game announced.
Yeah, Kirby The Last of Us.
A 3D one. No, don't say that.
Oh, I'm not allowed to compare two different games?
Okay, when you're comparing Kirby and The Last of Us, I mean, come on.
I'm just kidding. It's more like
comparing Grand Theft Auto and Breath of the Wild because they're both open world.
Not really, but okay. Next up is all you.
All right, Super Mario 3D All-Stars version 1.1.1 update now available. As Nintendo 64 controller support to Super Mario 64. A small update. This is by Sarumato for Gamatsu. Nintendo has released the version 1.1.1 update for Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which adds Nintendo Switch Online member exclusive Nintendo 64 controller support to Super Mario 64. That's it. All button displays within Super Mario 64 will not reflect the Nintendo 64 controller.
It is weird how Nintendo just hasn't done a good enough job with the controls. Like, let us remap the buttons. Also, remap your buttons better. Like,
right.
You'd imagine that you'd have the right analog stick B to C buttons. Because that's possible on the Vita, where you map the right analog as a way to get the camera controls on, like, older games, like the PSP and the PS1 games, where you have to move the camera with the LNR or with a combination of both. So you could remap those to the right analog. Like, this isn't rocket science. It shouldn't be this hard, but okay.
All right. So next up, Rune Factory 4 Special for PS4, Xbox One, and PC launches December 7th. Includes the downloadable content, another episode. This is by Sarumato for Gamatsu once again. Rune Factory 4 Special will launch digitally for PS4, Xbox One, and PC via Steam on December 7th for $29.99. Publishers Exceed Game and Marvelous Europe announced. It will include the downloadable content, another episode at no additional charge. A remaster of the 2012 release 3DS title, Rune Factory 4 Special, first launched for Switch in February 2020. So yeah, while you're waiting for the global release of Rune Factory 5, you have plenty of ways to play Rune Factory 4 Special, which I may try out at some point.
I'm still on the fence of that.
And our last news story before the main topic, Dragon Quest X offline details protagonist, battle system, vocations, and party. This is once again by Sarumato for Gamatsu. Square Enix has released new information and screenshots for Dragon Quest X Rise of the Five Tribes offline, introducing the game's protagonist, battle system, vocations, and party. I'm just going to go on a quick... I'm not going to read the whole thing, but some some details. In Dragon Quest X offline, the protagonist, controlled by the player, is a young human living a peaceful life with their sibling in the village Etene? I don't know. When the protagonist dies following a certain incident, their soul is placed in the body of a young person of a different race who died at the same time, and from there, their grand adventure begins. Players can customize the appearance of both the protagonist and their sibling. There are 5 races to choose from when you reincarnate. Ogres, the fire people. Poppets, the flower people. Elves, the wind people. Wetling, the water people. And Dwarf, the earth people. And there are turn-based command battles. Combat in Dragon Quest X offline uses the Dragon Quest series familiar turn-based command battle system. Choose the command for the action you want the protagonist or party members to take, and reduce the enemy's HP to 0 to win. And then there are five vocations. Taxes command. Basically, if you've played Dragon Quest, you'll this will be familiar to you. But there are 6 basic vocations: warrior, priest, mage, martial artist, thief, minstrel, which is like I don't know what that's. A vocation that can easily handle any situation with attack, recovery, revival, and support spells. It can use fans, staves, daggers, and shields. I don't get what that's supposed to be. And that's it. It's just warrior, priest, mage, martial artist, thief, and minstrel.
Okay, so basically,
and then there are more powerful vocations you can unlock.
So basically,
after
the things you could expect from a Dragon Quest game.
5 party members, different characters. There's a bunch of all the summaries here. We still don't know if this game will get a localization or not. I really hope it does, because there is no way for. I mean, there's no English version of the original Dragon Quest X.
Mm-hmm.
So even though this isn't the full game, it would be nice to have some version of it. And also, I believe Yoshi P worked on Dragon Quest X. And that's why they put him on Final Fantasy XIV.
Yes, that is true.
So yeah, look at this is his legacy now. I don't know if he helped with this version, but let's hope it gets a Western release at some point. And our main topic, and also last news story, we're gonna go a little over. Or our second main topic rather, is we got some Elden Ring info. So we have an Elden Ring gameplay preview. So have you watched it?
Yeah, I did. I was practically salivating.
I'm not gonna go over it. Go check out Kazuma Hashimoto's preview on Siliconera. There's a bunch of and also go check the video itself. Different types of attacks, a nice looking map, riding on a horse, these springs you can jump on, great animations. It looks great. It looks really good. It's
basically building off of the foundation that is Sekiro with some dashes of Breath of the Wild's open world.
How dare you say that?
Hey, have you not heard? Games will be compared to other games. And it's very remarkable with what they've accomplished. Like, it's an open world, and they still have the traditional dungeons you can run through.
Right.
Which is mind-boggling to me.
Luckily, they still will have co-op as well.
Yeah, and you can even customize a lot of it, like how you want to play, how you want to attack, how you want to tackle missions. It's so cool to see.
I hope it. People have been. I've seen some reactions, and people have been saying like maybe this Souls game might lend itself to co-op better than previous games, because once it was like, I don't know how it is in Sekiro, but in like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, you start at a certain place, and once they help you beat a boss, they leave.
They don't have
until you can summon them again.
It depends from game to game, but Sekiro didn't have multiplayer.
Right. Some people are thinking that maybe, or suspecting that maybe this one will lend itself to co-op a little more than the previous games.
I think it being an open world will make traversal a lot more fun.
Right.
Will lead to a lot more fun scenarios when you're playing co-op or multiplayer, because it just lends itself for a lot more chaotic fun than traditional dungeon designs, which can be very limiting, I feel like.
What did you think of the Pot Man?
The Pot Man was charming. I don't trust him fully because, he
has very gangly arms and legs.
Yeah, that usually means beware is evil.
Right. But you never know. And then we have pre-order bonuses and premium collector's editions. So the digital deluxe edition comes with So the Elden Ring pre-order bonus involves 2 digital items. One is an adventure guide that's apparently designed to help people on their way. Folks will also get a bonus gesture their avatars can perform in game. If someone goes with an Elden Ring digital deluxe edition, they get some more virtual bonus items. One is a digital art book to look through. The other is a digital copy of the soundtrack. And then the collector's edition items, people get the game, a Millennia figure, a steelbook case, a physical art book, and a digital soundtrack. Finally, there's the Elden Ring Premium Collector's Edition. That's basically the same as the normal Collector's Edition. The difference is one item. People get a 1:1 scale helmet. It resembles the one Millennia wears in the game.
Isn't that only exclusive to the Bandai Namco store?
It does not say here.
I think so.
This Siliconera article by Jenni.
There was one collector's edition that's exclusive to the Bandai Namco store. Kind of how they did it with Tales of Arise.
I definitely don't need a helmet or a figure, but that art book is tempting. Do we have the price?
Not that I remember. Let me check. Wario 64 usually has that info handy. Let's see. Before I get to that, are you interested in this game?
Oh yes, of course. It looks great. This is the most interested I've been in a Souls game since. Well, I still have Demon Souls for PS5 that I need to get through, but since that, so not that long.
But, have you started that one?
No.
Oh, okay. So what makes this more appealing to you in comparison to the others?
I don't know. I really liked how it looked, and it's been a while since I played a Souls game. And I haven't finished Code Vein yet either, now that I think about it. I don't know. It just seems like it's going to be... I don't know how to explain it, but it seems like it might be more of my jam than other Souls games have been. Besides Bloodborne. Bloodborne, I didn't think would be my jam, and then it totally was.
I think you should try Sekiro if you have the chance.
I have tried Sekiro. It never clicked with me.
Oh, was it the parrying system?
Yeah, it might have been that.
Okay. So Elden Ring, that's the Steam version. I don't think we need the Steam version. The Premium Collector's Edition doesn't have a price yet. I think. Where is that info? Dang it. Okay. The Elden Ring's Collector's Edition costs $189 US and 99 cents. And that features the statue art book, I think. Digital soundtrack, steelbook, and art book, yes. And the premium one, as you mentioned, has the helmet and all the aforementioned doodads.
Yeah.
Does it have a price, though? I do not see a price. Oh, geez, I have to put in my age just to view it. Because Bandai Namco does not trust me that I am an adult. Okay, no. Well, no, I can't view the info. So yeah, that's about it. Any extra thoughts on Elden Ring? Any expectations, worries?
It's nice to have. It's nice to have a Souls game be revealed and not see any difficulty discourse after gameplay was I know nobody's played the game yet. It's just gameplay stuff.
Miyazaki has said that the way this game is structured, it should give you an easier start with the game in comparison to Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne and Sekiro. That doesn't mean that the difficulty will be lower. It's just that the way you approach the game might give you creative opportunities to maybe potentially have an easier time when tackling dungeons or enemies. So, could be all fun. Okay, I think that's about it. Do you have anything else you want to add? It's fine if you don't.
No, I don't. I don't. I can't think of anything.
Okay. Then we'll end it here. It's kind of a normal-ish episode. It's good. Thank you for listening. This was fun. Join us next week when we talk about the other discourse that will be surely arising through the games media space. Be kind to each other. Get vaccinated if you can. Stay safe, stay healthy. Wash your hands, wash your feet, wash your butt. Play video games. Go read a book. Go touch some grass. Or, if you're allergic to grass and whatnot, just maybe don't touch grass. Be kind to one another. Have fun out there, and we'll see you next time. Say the thing. You're supposed to say the thing.
Say the thing? Oh, sorry. Matinee. I know I'm like furiously typing, but I'm trying to get like this other work done.
Okay, it's good. Bye.
Matinee.